Right now, you believe strength comes from muscle, money, or status. But those are decorations, illusions. Real power is invisible. It's the iron will that makes a man unafraid to lose everything. It's the cold resolve that allows him to walk through fire without blinking. Most people chase comfort. The strong? They train themselves to endure pain. They don't pray for an easy life. They prepare for a cruel one. Every single day, the world is testing you. Watch and see where you break. The unpaid bills, the betrayal you never saw coming, the fear that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. Ordinary men run. Extraordinary men use these trials. They don't wait for the storm to pass. They step into it and walk out sharper. Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune belongs to the disciplined, the ruthless, and the unafraid." This video isn't about motivation. It isn't about being liked. It's about forging a will so unyielding that nothing, not pain, not fear, not failure can bend it. If you want comfort, stop watching now. But if you want to become untouchable, if you want to become inhumanly strong, keep listening. Main body. The first step toward inhuman strength is to destroy the illusion that life will go easy on you. The world is not fair. It doesn't care if you're kind, talented, or full of potential. It isn't waiting to reward you. It's sharpening its knives. And if you're hiding inside comfort, thinking you're safe, you've already lost. Look around you. People cling to routine like children clutching blankets. They wake up craving warmth, pleasure, distraction. They avoid discomfort at all costs. And that's why they shatter so easily. One setback, one betrayal, one real moment of pressure, and they collapse. Why? Because they never trained themselves to suffer on purpose. Machiavelli knew this better than anyone. He warned princes never to grow soft inside their own walls. Because comfort rots the core. And when the core rots, crowns fall. The same is true for you. If you want to be unbreakable, you must choose your suffering before life chooses it for you. Cut out the luxuries that dull your edge. Wake earlier than you want. Work longer than you think you can. Deny yourself the soft comforts you secretly know are weakening you. And cut off the people who drain you. When you own your pain, it can't be used against you. Think of a blade being forged. It is beaten, burned, and drowned, again and again, until it becomes something deadly. If you were that blade, how many strikes would you survive before you cracked? Every hardship you take on deliberately is another strike of the hammer, another blast of the fire. Another step toward becoming unshatterable. Don't wait for life to test you on its terms. Test yourself on yours. Seek out the struggle deliberately. Because when you own your suffering, you own your power. When the world tries to crush you, it will find you already tempered like steel. The man who willingly suffers cannot be broken. They think before they calculate. They react before they choose. They reveal themselves without even knowing it. Their minds are open fields where anyone can plant seeds of fear, doubt, or desire. To become inhumanly strong, you must seal those gates. You must train your mind to answer only to you, not to fear, not to pleasure, not to the pressure of the crowd. Machiavelli admired leaders who could stand in chaos without shaking. Men who treated every thought like a soldier under command. Nothing entered their judgment unless it proved its worth. Rage was chained until the moment to strike. Compassion was stored until it had purpose. Even joy was rationed, because too much joy makes a man careless. The first step is awareness. Most people drift through life on instinct. They don't see when they're being manipulated. A rumor spreads, they believe it. A threat appears, they retreat. A temptation glitters, they grab it. But you'll learn a pause. That pause, that single refusal to react, is the beginning of control. Picture your mind as a fortress with walls of stone. Every thought must be inspected at the gate. Is this fear real or just noise? Does this desire serve me or enslave me? Is this anger useful or will it expose me? If it does not pass inspection, it is turned away. Over time, this discipline becomes instinct, and when it does, people will notice. You will move with quiet certainty. You will not flinch when insulted. You will not rush under pressure. You will not cheer too loudly in victory, because you know victory is never final. And this calm will disturb them. They will wonder what you are thinking. They will wonder what you are planning. And fear grows fastest in the dark. But this calm is not coldness. It is freedom. Because once your decisions are no longer ruled by emotion, you cannot be baited. You cannot be rushed. You cannot be played. Your enemies will search for your weakness, and they will find nothing to hold on to. So build this fortress of the mind brick by brick. In stress, slow yourself down instead of speeding up. In pleasure, remind yourself it is temporary, never a throne to sit on. In fear, remember fear is only information, not a master. The man who commands his mind commands his fate. He is not ruled by moods or events. While others are tossed around like leaves in the wind, he walks straight through the storm, unbowed. That is strength far greater than muscle or money, because it cannot be taken away. When your mind becomes a fortress, no whisper can sway you. No insult can unbalance you. No temptation can pull you off course. You will act only when you choose to act. You will strike only when you decide to strike. And the world will see that you are no ordinary man. You are something far more dangerous. Most people believe strength lives in the body. They think if they just build more muscle, run more miles, eat the perfect diet, they'll become powerful. But the truth is harsher. The body is not strength itself. It is only a servant. And like any servant, it must obey, or it becomes the master. Look at the world today. People don't command their bodies. They negotiate with them. I'll work if I feel rested. I'll move if I feel motivated. I'll push if it's comfortable. They treat their own flesh like a spoiled child, always bargaining, never disciplining. And then they wonder why their will feels weak. Machiavelli would call this foolishness. A ruler who cannot command his own household is unfit to command a state. Likewise, a man who cannot control his body is unfit to control his destiny. Your flesh should never decide when you move, when you stop, when you eat, or when you rest. You give the orders. This does not mean obsessing over appearance. Vanity is weakness in disguise. Men who train only to look impressive are slaves to the mirror. They do not own their strength. They rent it from the approval of others. And when their body fails, their pride crumbles with it. True command of the body is not about sculpting it for applause. It is about forging it into a weapon that responds instantly when called upon. Can you rise at dawn without protest? Can you endure hunger without complaint? Can you keep working long after exhaustion tells you to quit? These are not questions of fitness. They are questions of power. Your body is a tool, nothing more. And like any tool, it dulls if unused. Push it daily, not to show off, but to prove that your will is stronger than your flesh. When pain comes, welcome it. It is proof that your commands are being obeyed. When fatigue whispers, enough, answer with one more rep, one more step, one more hour. The weak train to feel good. The strong train to obey themselves. Every drop of sweat is a message. I control you. Every ache is confirmation. You belong to me, not the other way around. This discipline bleeds into everything else. A man who cannot push through physical discomfort will never push through real adversity. If you collapse because you're hungry or tired, what will you do when the stakes are higher? When betrayal cuts deep, when fortunes fall, when enemies close in, the body is the first battlefield, the testing ground where you learn to conquer resistance, before the world throws its storms at you. And here is the hidden reward. When you stop worshiping the body, you actually grow stronger. You train not to feed your ego, but to sharpen your will. You learn to see the flesh as expendable, a tool in service of your mission. This makes you terrifying to those who live for comfort, because they know you will do what they cannot. You will outwork them. You will outlast them. You will suffer more, and still keep moving. Machiavelli admired men who treated their very lives as tools to be spent wisely, not treasures to be preserved at all costs. Treat your body the same way. Maintain it, sharpen it, discipline it, but never worship it. A servant worshipped becomes a tyrant, and a tyrant body makes for a weak soul. Command yourself completely. When you say move, you move. When you say endure, you endure. When you say endure, you endure. When you say fight, you fight. In this obedience lies a deeper strength than any weight you could lift or medal you could win. It is the strength of a man whose flesh bows to his will. And when even your body fears you, so will everyone else. Weak men spend their lives avoiding loss. Strong men spend their lives choosing what to lose. That is the difference. The masses believe strength means clinging to comfort, to relationships, to approval, to security. But real strength is built by cutting away what softens you before life does it for you. Machiavelli understood this law of power. Nothing great is achieved without deliberate cost. Princes who try to please everyone lost their thrones. Generals who refused to abandon men lost wars. In the game of survival, sentimentality is a liability. The man who cannot let go is already enslaved by what he clings to. Look at how most people live. They hoard convenience like treasure, terrified of discomfort. They keep unworthy friends just to avoid loneliness. They take easy jobs to avoid risk. They cling to bad habits because giving them up would wound their pride. And because they never choose to bleed, life eventually takes everything from them all at once. You must do the opposite. Treat sacrifice as a weapon you sharpen yourself. Decide what you will burn now, so you don't burn later. Give up pleasures that dull your edge. Cut off alliances that weaken you. Walk away from paths that lead nowhere, even if they are easy. Every sacrifice you make on your own terms is an investment, a deposit into your future strength. This is not needless suffering. It is discipline with a purpose. Think of a commander discarding excess baggage before battle. The march becomes lighter. The army moves faster. Sacrifice frees you from weight. It hardens you against the fear of loss, because you've already trained to live without what others believe is essential. The more you let go voluntarily, the more dangerous you become. When others fear losing money, you've already learned to live lean. When others fear losing comfort, you've already slept on cold floors. When others fear losing friends, you've already walked alone. What can they use against you? If you've already surrendered everything they would take? This is why Machiavelli praised rulers who valued survival above sentiment. A prince willing to sacrifice his comfort, even his reputation, cannot be cornered. Such men appear ruthless, but in truth, they're simply free. Free from the fear of loss. Start small. Give up one indulgence each week. Not forever, but long enough to prove you control it, not the other way around. Refuse one invitation you don't need. Spend one evening working instead of distracting yourself. Each act of sacrifice is not weakness. It is proof you are carving yourself into something sharper than circumstance. Do not mistake this for self-punishment. You are not destroying yourself. You are sculpting yourself. Michelangelo once said he carved statues by chipping away everything that was not part of the figure. But what is unknown? If they cannot read your next move, they will imagine it to be far worse than it is. And that fear alone becomes part of your power. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both lion and fox, fierce enough to fight when necessary, yet cunning enough to deceive when direct battle would be unwise. When you master unpredictability, you embody both. You're no longer just strong. You become untouchable. When they expect you to beg, remain silent. When they expect forgiveness, strike. When they expect rage, smile. When they expect surrender, advance. Every time you defy expectation, you teach the world that no one truly knows you. And when no one knows you, no one can own you. The man who cannot be read cannot be broken. His power lies not only in discipline or endurance, but in the fear he inspires by being impossible to predict. And that fear shields him more than armor ever could. You've now seen every step. Every piece of this path is built to strip away the softness that weakens most men and replace it with something unbreakable. First, you learn to destroy comfort before comfort destroys you. Weak men wait for life to test them. Strong men test themselves first. They wake earlier than they want, endure longer than they should, and cut away every luxury that dulls their edge. Second, you learn to train your mind to rule, not to serve. Fear Doubt and emotion are weapons in the hands of those who master them, but chains for those who don't. If you don't command your own thoughts, someone else will. Third, you realize your body is not a shrine to admire. It is a weapon to command. You don't train to look strong. You train so your flesh obeys your will without hesitation. Fourth, you discovered that power multiplies through mystery. If they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. If they cannot read you, they fear you. A man who is both lion and fox, as Machiavelli wrote, cannot be cornered. And what does all this mean? It means true strength is not found in one skill, one workout, or one mindset. It is a complete transformation from within. Your mind tempered, your body disciplined, your presence unreadable. Together, these make you rare. A man no one dares to test, because he cannot be broken, cannot be manipulated, and cannot be stopped. If you truly embrace these lessons, you'll stop chasing strength for applause. You'll stop measuring yourself by what others think. You'll become strong simply because you refuse to be anything else. And that kind of strength never fades. The question now is simple. Will you take the first step? Will you wake tomorrow and choose pain before it chooses you? Will you master your mind and body instead of letting them master you? Will you remain mysterious enough to keep enemies guessing and allies respectful? Most people will nod along to this, then return to the same soft routines, the same empty comforts, the same predictable habits that have kept them weak. But you're not most people. If you're still here, you are already different. You already know the truth. Strength is not given. It is taken, and you take it by force, by forging yourself in fire until nothing can bend you. The world is not becoming easier. It is becoming sharper, colder, more hostile. And that is your advantage. While others break, you will harden. While others beg to be rescued, you will already be unshakable. Temper yourself. Become steel. And when life strikes, you won't shatter. You will cut clean through it. If this gave you something real, something you can use, then prove it. Hit like, subscribe, and keep forging yourself here. The weak will scroll away. The strong will remain, sharpening the blade. Which one are you?